You have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask is, who are you?
UKIP's plenary speeches may be brushed off by many as nothing more than anti-Euro rhetoric, but the truth is Euroscepticism is growing. The anti-EU Danish People's Party, for example, are now the second most popular party in Denmark. And when you consider that with UKIP's recent victories in British local elections, politicians are now starting to sit up and take notice. But Conservative politician and MEP James Ellis says he is not too worried about UKIP's surge in popularity.
The item I think one has to think in is, number one, the context and then the time frame. The context is obviously one where we're in still a really difficult period of having no growth. People are feeling discontented economically, but also there are measures where politically, on immigration and others, where there's a real sense of dissatisfaction, where people, Conservatives, will be looking for someone else to vote for. But were this to happen at a general election, I would be more concerned than in a local election, because local elections, as perhaps in European elections too, people feel this is a way of protesting, but it's not a serious change.
James Ellis may not be too concerned, but we asked Danish politician and Eurosceptic Merete Riisager of the Liberal Alliance if she agreed that parties like UKIP are not really a threat.
No, not at all. I think you should always listen to the people. There are really genuine skeptical parties who raise very good questions about where EU is heading. And if you are a parliamentarian and you don't listen to the people, I think you should ask yourself actually what you are doing. There's a healthy critique going on of the EU, and I think it's very wrong and I should say arrogant just to put that down and say that it's not worthwhile listening to. We should very much listen to that.
And Merete Riisager is not alone. With the EU referendum looming in England, former State Secretary of Denmark, Jørgen Møller, says that there is a real risk that England could end up leaving the EU altogether.
Well, I think people for many good reasons ask, what is the European Union doing for me? And politicians have not really managed to get across to people that actually the European Union is doing a lot for their daily life.
What will happen then if England were to leave the European Union? Would people only realize their mistake after the country would hypothetically have left?
I think they would vote on the basis of emotions, and emotions would lead them to leave. After that, they would realize that, economically speaking, it was a mistake, a big mistake.
So you feel that England will probably leave?
I'm sure they will.
But James Ellis isn't convinced. He in turn welcomes the impending referendum to answer the EU question once and for all. But Ellis also says that politicians should learn from UKIP's online tactics if they want to survive within modern-day politics.
The fact that probably the most powerful party presence on Facebook is UKIP is that they've understood how to be out on the internet. That's where they spend their time, and that's where they promulgate a whole lot of their ideas. That's why I'm in favour of a referendum nationally, because we can prove that most of what they say is a load of rubbish.
So this is a blip?
It's more than a blip. It's one people saying, look, we're dissatisfied with the way things are, but it's also about how modern parties communicate, that they have to be online, otherwise if they're offline, they're out of touch, and then they're out of business.